How's it going, everyone? So, over the last month or so, since the Discovery and PlayStation news came out with Discovery content being pulled from PlayStation platforms, just as a reminder for you guys, earlier this month we had heard that there was a licensing agreement that was expiring between PlayStation, Warner Brothers, and Discovery that was going to permanently move various Discovery television content from the PlayStation Store. Now, this is something that has happened in the past when licensing agreements have expired. Most notably, it does happen when a third-party publisher, their licensing agreement with various IPs comes to a conclusion. For example, when Activision's Transformers licensing did expire, Transformer War and Fall of Cybertron were pulled from the PlayStation Store. I know that is one example I constantly go back to, but that's because that is one that hurts my soul, because I love Transformers War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, and there is no way we are actually preserving those games. And yes, I am still very much depressed about it. And those games were pulled because Hasbro's contact with Activision to publish the Transformers games had expired, but it's usually these various agreements that do expire. But the difference in this case was the fact that with the Discovery licensing agreement expired, it was told that if you had purchased any of this content, it would still be getting pulled from your library, meaning you wouldn't be able to download that content. That has never happened in the past before with gaming content getting pulled. If a game got pulled from the PlayStation Store, they gave you a heads up on it. Most recently, we had Marvel's Avengers getting pulled from the PlayStation Store. If you bought Marvel's Avengers, you were still able to download that game, and they gave you a heads up well before the game got pulled that it was going to get pulled, and you were able to buy the game, and if it's in your library, it is in there forever, or as we thought to be forever, and it would be downloadable whenever you want. If you delete the game, you can re-download it, etc. That was not going to be the case with this Discovery content that was getting pulled. Even for those of you that bought this content, now it was various TV shows that was getting pulled. However, if you had bought any of this content, it was just gone forever. You weren't gonna have the option to access this content anymore, to stream it, download it, whatever the case may be. That was just going away. And I know that for some people that, let's say, didn't understand the gravitas of this situation, they were just like, bro, it's just some Discovery content. Like, why do you care about that? That is not the issue. Yes, it is some Discovery content that a lot of people don't have access to. Like, let's be real. How many people have bought various seasons of television show? If you're watching television shows these days, chances are you're using a streaming service or you're sailing the high seas. Like, let's just be frank here. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. That is probably the case for most people, but there are going to be some people out there that did buy this content and ultimately they're getting screwed over. It might be a small percentage of the overall PlayStation audience, but that percentage is still out there. However, this is a clear reminder of the power that PlayStation and these digital platform holders do hold over the consumer. This is a stark reminder of that, and I think for a lot of people, it was their first exposure to that idea that this was a possibility. And now, it's going to enlist a lot of fear in people in buying digital content. Well, let's get to the good news first. PlayStation will not delete Discovery TV shows after all, as noted on GamesIndustry.biz. PlayStation will no longer be removing over 1,300 Discovery TV shows from its platform next month. Now, there have to be some hardcore Discovery fans that probably bought a large portion of those 1,300 Discovery shows, so like, yo, if you were losing like all that content, even if it's a small percentage, I would be absolutely livid. Sony had previously announced that users will not be able to watch a Discovery content on PlayStation from December 31st, even if they had already purchased it. However, the firm now says that due to an updated licensing agreement with Warner Brothers, which owns the Discovery brand, consumers will now be able to access their previously purchased shows for at least the next 30 months. Similar to other services, we do not own the licensing rights to TV movie content that was previously available for purchase on PlayStation Store, PlayStation stated in the update. However, we've worked with Warner Brothers to update our licensing agreements, ensuring that customers will be able to access their previously purchased content for at least the next 30 months. The caveat there is the next 30 months. So we are not out of a disaster situation, and I would say that this is a band-aid more than anything. Now, at the end of the day, you look at this and most people are not going to care. The fact is, it's this discovery content that people don't care about. For most people to care, especially from a casual sense, it's gonna be something where it's a major title getting pulled and people are not gonna be able to download it. But it goes back to the thought process of digital downloads and whether or not you want to go down that route. Look, I personally like the idea of digital gaming. There was a period in my life, you know, late teens into my early 20s, that I loved physical media. I did not want to get digital games. Even though I was very much into PC gaming, I still had an affinity towards having the box, having the disc. It felt like I owned something. I could give it to a friend, I could trade it in, etc., etc. I could store it on the shelf. I like box art, I like those steel books, I like those collector's edition, and guess what? You're damn right, your boy's gonna be a sucker and spend the $350 or whatever it is to get into the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Collector's Edition. I'm still that sucker at heart. However, as I get older, you know, the room becomes an issue, and having everything digitally downloaded is very convenient. However, I also do definitely understand the mindset of a lot of people in the sense of they want that physical media. They don't want to go to the digital gaming route, especially if you're talking about spending a premier price point on games. Look, buying games digitally certainly leads to the publisher making more money. I don't know the exact breakdown, but let's not kid ourselves here. A Ubisoft, an Activision, a PlayStation, if you buy their game digitally, they are absolutely making more money than they would have if you bought that game physically. Now, is that reflective of the actual value compensation to the consumer? No, you're still spending $70, you're still spending $60, and why is it that the games are still $60 or $70 when they are making more money off the digital content? First of all, they want to make more money, and they want to continue to make more money, and they realize you'll spend $70 on it. The issue becomes taking a price point even higher than that, and some publishers have been sneaky, and they figure out stuff like Ultimate Editions. Look at Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. That game's Ultimate Edition is like $130. That's how they get sneaky with upping the price point from even higher than $70, but they realize that that baseline price point of $70 is what consumers are most likely going to pay these days. Getting even higher than that is going to be detrimental to the product. They got to go about that in another route by doing Ultimate Editions and whatnot. But however, you can't go lower than 70, also because you have these partners with these retail stores, with your Walmarts, with your Best Buys. You think a Best Buy would be happy that they're taking up storage space for an Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and you've got whatever publisher turning around and selling it on a digital storefront for 30-40% off? Even if they wanted to do that, it's going to annoy their brick and mortar retail partners, so they aren't going to do something like that. You have to keep that in mind. What is also unfortunate is that if you look at it from a digital lens, a lot of the times when we talk about game deals on this channel, they are completely beaten out by their physical counterparts, and that is doubly true when you look at newer game releases. And if you look at it this year, it's been a little bit better, I feel, but still, like, when we get to the holiday times, it's always cheaper to buy physical games than it is to buy digital games. And now you add in that caveat of, oh, they have this power over you, they can pull this content, and what does this mean in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? Hopefully, fingers crossed that I make it, because I've been making some poor decisions in my life, but 20 years from now, 25 years from now, what does that mean, and how is that power gonna evolve? And you really have no say. All you have is, you know, you can rage online, but ultimately we've realized that only goes so far. There was a lot of rage online from myself as well when PlayStation decided to increase the price of PlayStation Plus. You think they're gonna go back on that? No, they're not. Ultimately, the power that you have from raging online, it means a little bit, but it doesn't mean a lot, and it's nothing that you can actually rely on. And even in this case, where they have updated a licensing agreement, ultimately, it's an updated licensing agreement. It's not an actual fix. It's a band-aid on the issue at hand, and it's not going to be a permanent solution, especially when they even said it's going to be available for the next 30 months, at least the next 30 months. This is still something you should be worried about. If you worry about things like your games being preserved, how is it going to be handled in 20 to 25 years? And Sony having this kind of power over you, and any digital storefront having this kind of power over you, maybe it's time to at least look at physical media. And physical media still has its shortcomings, but I certainly would prefer that. Again, from my standpoint, it's really a life situation at this point, why I do buy more games digitally than I do physically. But again, even I'm a sucker when it comes to stuff like the FF7 Rebirth Collector's Edition, and I'll spend the $350 because I am a sucker. But for the most part, you know, I can't be running around around buying every game physically. And laziness is very powerful, guys. As you guys might know, laziness is powerful. Being able to preload a game and being able to start it at midnight is pretty damn powerful. So that's my 2 cents on it now. While this is good and the headlines are gonna be good, this is something that is a band-aid on a wound if you do perceive it that way, and if this is a big issue for you going forward as far as digital content goes. Ultimately, they are only saying it's for the next 30 months, and ultimately, this is still a indicator of the power that Sony and these digital storefronts do have over you, so keep that in mind. But wanted to give my 2 cents on that. Certainly do sound off all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. I know for a lot of people, this is much ado about nothing. They don't care, even in the sense of, oh, what does this mean for my games in 20 to 25 years? Some people are going to be like, bro, you think I'm going to want to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor in 25 years? There's going to be like Galactic Star Wars on the PS9 that's out by then, and I don't care anymore about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That's certainly a mindset to have, but yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.